They promised me a surprise baby shower. Trust us. It'll be the shower of the year. The day came. I showed up to the venue only to find Happy 30th, Queen Emily in gold letters. My sister on stage, my cake. My guest list. My card had 34 charges. Total, $8,300. When I called, Mom said, "We accidentally gave her your date, but don't worry. We'll do yours soon." I replied, "Well, color me surprised." Then I froze every payment, flagged the vendors, and sent one screenshot to the group chat. "Just trust us," my sister said, grinning into the phone. "It'll be the baby shower of the year. All you have to do is show up." I didn't ask for much. I hadn't even wanted a party. Really, I'm not that type. But after everything this family put me through during my pregnancy, the silence, the weird comments about my weight, the half-hearted congrats, hearing my mom actually excited about something for me felt rare. Suspicious, yes, but rare. "We'll handle everything," she insisted. "Venue, guests, food, just for something cute." So I let myself hope. That was my mistake. The day came. I was 7 months pregnant, swollen, exhausted, but I showed up at the venue they texted me about, a rented event hall out in Marietta. My fiancé had to work, so I came alone, waddling through the parking lot in a soft pink dress that barely zipped. I was nervous, hopeful, and then I stepped inside. Gold letters hung from the back wall, "Happy 30th, Queen Emily," a stage. Balloons, champagne. And standing right at the mic with a spotlight overhead, my sister. My name is Emily. But the Emily on stage? That was my sister too. Emily Rose younger by 4 years, taller, louder, and apparently turning 30. She was wearing my dress, the pale blue one I wore at my engagement shoot last spring. Her hair curled the same way I wore mine at the baby announcement. And behind her, on a table decked in florals, sat a cake I hadn't seen since the Pinterest board I made 2 months ago. I froze. She saw me, paused mid-sentence, then smiled wide and said into the mic, "And look who finally made it, my big sister. Everyone, say hi to our guest of honor," sort of. There was laughter. I turned to the crowd, faces I hadn't seen in months, a few coworkers, my aunt's weird boyfriend, even my old roommate from college, someone I hadn't spoken to since 2019, grinning at me like this was normal. I blinked hard. My purse buzzed. It was an alert from my bank. "Your card has been used 34 times in the last 6 hours. Total, $8,326.91. I opened the transaction list, the venue, the balloons, the cake, the photo booth, all of it, on my name, on my baby's savings. I called my mom. No answer. Then a text. "We accidentally gave her your date, but don't worry. We'll do yours soon, promise." I didn't reply right away. I walked outside, stood in the parking lot with my hands trembling, my belly heavy, my chest burning. Then I took a breath, opened the group chat, and sent one screenshot. "Card alert. Thank you for your payment to Balloons and Bliss Events." And under it, I typed, "Well, color me surprised." Then I froze every payment, flagged the vendors, and walked to my car. They said it would be the shower of the year. They didn't know they were right. It's strange how quickly your mind rewrites history when the people you love betray you publicly. I kept thinking, maybe this was an accident, a mix-up, like they said. But then I checked my calendar. They had asked me 2 months ago what weekend worked best for the baby shower. I said May 12th. That was today. They hadn't stolen some vague placeholder on a whim. They stole my date. They stole it with intent. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on the edge of my bed, scrolling through every receipt, every charge, every vendor contact I'd flagged. Cake, $420. Venue deposit, $2,000. Balloons and decor, $1,300. Catering, a whopping $2,800 for a sushi bar I never saw. I wasn't just tricked. I was robbed, and I had paid for my own erasure. When I called my mom again, she didn't answer. But a minute later, she finally replied in the family group chat. "Let's not make a scene over a little confusion. You know how your sister gets. She just wanted something special for her big 3-0. My sister followed up with, "It was still your money, so you were still part of it." My blood ran cold. That's when it hit me. This wasn't new. This was what they'd always done. I scrolled back through my payment history. There were charges I couldn't even remember authorizing. Last November, $500 to a party supply rental. December, $780 to Velvet Canvas photography. And then I remembered my sister's holiday party and her surprise engagement photo shoot, the one she never posted because she never got engaged. And yet she used my card. I called my fiancé. He picked up on the second ring, sleepy. "What's wrong?" I didn't know how to say it. I just whispered, "They've been stealing from me for months." 3 days later, I got the baby shower invitation. It was a new one sent by my aunt. Same venue, same address, June 23rd. Except this one was actually for me, allegedly, except it was all performative. I replied with a question, "Who's paying for this one?" No one answered. Instead, my cousin, Leah, always the neutral one, DM'd me privately. "They've been saying you freaked out and canceled the shower out of jealousy, that you didn't want Emily to get attention." My heart sank. They weren't sorry. They were spinning it. I didn't reply to Leah. Instead, I pulled up my email and checked the invoices from the vendors. I'd frozen all payments, and I was waiting to see you try to recover their money. By the next morning, Four had emailed me not with complaints, but with confusion. Apparently someone claiming to be me had called and tried to unfreeze the funds, said she had authorization. One vendor attached a voice message for security purposes. I clicked play. It was my sister pretending to be me. "Hi. This is Emily Taylor. I'm so sorry. There was a mix-up with my account. Please proceed with the payment. Thank you again for everything you did for the party. It meant the world." I stared at the waveform. My stomach turned. She hadn't even tried to mask her voice. Just relied on the same thing she always had, the assumption that I wouldn't fight back. The next blow came from my dad. He never texts me directly, not unless someone's in the hospital or he needs something. But on Friday afternoon, I got this gym. "Don't punish the whole family for a mistake. Be the bigger person. We all know you don't need the money." Then a follow-up. "You chose to keep that baby, so act like a mother and stop creating drama." I dropped my phone. I couldn't breathe for a second. I wanted to scream, but instead, I opened my notes app and started writing. I made a list. $8,300 in stolen funds for vendor fraud attempts, a fake invitation, public group chat humiliation, emotional abuse from both parents, financial gaslighting. You chose to keep that baby. I didn't cry. I made a folder. I labeled it receipts. The next night, I got tagged in a Facebook post, a group photo from the birthday shower. Caption: "We pulled off the surprise of the year. Happy birthday to our radiant Emily." Some people show up late. Others show up bitter. I stared at the picture. There was my cake, my flowers, my guests. Even the sign-in board, the one I hand-lettered in gold script months ago, now repurposed as a memory wall for her milestones. My name had been crossed out in Sharpie. No joke. I screenshotted everything. Then I did something they didn't expect. I logged into the vendor portals one by one and began uploading my flagged report, unauthorized charges, fraudulent impersonation, voice evidence. But that wasn't the final blow. The final blow came from my fiancé. He called her. I didn't know he would. But apparently, after seeing the Facebook post and hearing me cry in the shower, he'd had enough. He asked her straight up, "Did you really use her money for your party?" She said, "It's not like she can't afford it. She's hormonal. You know how pregnant women get." He recorded the call, then he sent it to me. Then, and I'll never forget this, he sent it to the group chat. No caption, just the audio. It started with her laugh and ended with silence. That was the moment it cracked. The invite came 2 days later. A family dinner, just to talk. Private room, Italian place, 7 p.m. No kids, no plus once. I stared at the message from Mom like it was a trap laid out in velvet. "You've made your point," she wrote. "Let's put the past behind us." For the baby, I didn't reply. I just packed my bag, slipped the flash drive into a small black case, printed screenshots, labeled the manila folder Family Fraud 2025. Then I sent one text, not to them, to him, my fiancé, my witness. We wouldn't be alone this time. The room was warm. A little too candlelit for a peace talk, like they were trying to stage an after-school special. Mom had ordered ahead, pasta, breadsticks, wine I couldn't drink. She smiled when she saw me. "Look at you, glowing." I didn't smile back. Dad nodded, said nothing. And Emily, Queen Emily, wore white again. A tight little smirk like this was her stage. She held a gift bag. "I got you a onesie," she said. "Says world's most dramatic baby." Just a little joke. "Cute," I said. I brought something too. I pulled out the folder, laid it flat in the center of the table like a weapon. Mom glanced at it. "What's this?" I clicked the remote. Behind me, a portable projector flickered on. I'd booked the room under a corporate alias so no one would question the tech setup. They didn't even notice the white screen on the wall until it lit up. Audio file 1. "Hi. This is Emily Taylor. I'm so sorry. There was a mix-up with my account." My voice. "Except not mine. My sister paled. Dad leaned forward. I spoke quietly. That's your daughter impersonating me on a vendor call, approving charges to a card she didn't own. In most states, that's felony fraud. Turn that off, my dad said. This isn't what we came for. I clicked again. Audio file 2. She's hormonal. You know how pregnant women get. My sister, laughing, on the call with my fiancé. Then came the screenshot carousel, Facebook post, group chat, the sharpened name on the memory wall, the receipts, $8,326.91 in charges. And a little bonus, a photo of the cake from my Pinterest board reposted to my sister's Instagram with the caption, "Real queens don't need permission." You stole my baby shower, I said. Borrowed, Emily snapped, suddenly red. And anyway, you never said you paid for everything. You just do that. It's what you're good at. Mom chimed in, "Sweetheart, let's not escalate." But it was too late. From the back of the room came a voice. Didn't escalate, she documented. They turned. My fiancé stepped forward. In his hand, a printed letter. Official complaint filed, dated. I reported the impersonation to the payment processor, he said, and submitted the audio to our attorney. We're not just pressing charges. We're freezing the joint savings account too. Mom stood up. You can't. That's for the baby. No. I cut her off. That was for the baby shower. The one you let her hijack. Dad finally spoke. This is disgusting. What kind of daughter does this? The kind that's done, I said. The kind that's 7 months pregnant and still footing the bill for people who would happily erase her if it meant more attention. Then I reached into my purse and pulled out the ultrasound photo, placed it next to the folder. You won't know her name. You won't see her face. You won't hold her, ever. Emily laughed. Oh, come on. You're not serious. I turned to her. You used my money, my guest list, my identity, and you called me hormonal when I caught you. You're not a sister. You're a leech with a crown. The room went silent. Then a voice from the corner, amen to that. It was Aunt Melissa. I didn't even know she was there. Apparently, Mom had invited her to keep things neutral. She'd sat quietly the whole time until now. I knew something was wrong, she said, standing. She asked me to call it her shower, said you didn't deserve one, said you were acting all motherly just because you got lucky one night. Mom gasped. Melissa, stop. No, she said. I'm done covering for all of you. She turned to me. You're not crazy. You're not dramatic. You're just finally done playing dead. I nodded once slowly. Then I picked up the folder, the flash drive, and the ultrasound photo, and I stood. I'll send you the invoice, I said. Not for the money, for the damage. Then I turned to Emily, took the gift bag she brought, and dumped it upside down. The onesie landed on the table, crumpled and cheap. I took out a Sharpie, scrawled across it in big black letters, "No more queens." Then I dropped it in her lap and walked out. I didn't go home that night. After the dinner, after the audio, the folder, the fake onesie, I sat in my car for an hour with the engine off, doors locked, and the flash drive in my lap. It wasn't over. It was just finally beginning. They thought I would scream, cry, make a scene. They didn't understand who I became while they were laughing. First move, the bank at 9:01 a.m. I called the fraud line and told them everything, not as a sobbing victim, as a client pressing charges. I have unauthorized use of my card, I said calmly. I have audio, receipts, impersonation attempts, and 3 vendors who've already confirmed fraudulent contact. They froze the card permanently, filed it under internal investigation, assured me that $8,326.91 would be returned in full via chargeback. I wouldn't owe a cent. Then came the bonus. The person impersonating you, did they provide identifying information? Yes. I said, my name, my email, my pregnancy announcement date. There was silence on the line. Then we'll be notifying authorities. Second move, the vendors. I sent a professional email to each vendor used in the fake party. Explain the situation. Attach the audio file of my sister pretending to be me. All 4 responded within 12 hours. One refunded the remaining balance voluntarily. Another sent an apology for getting involved in a personal dispute. One even offered free services if I ever wanted to throw a real shower. But the 4th vendor, they were livid. I'm contacting my attorney, the decorator wrote. She forged your name on our service agreement. That's identity fraud. Sister thought she was slick. She used a free online contract template, typed Emily Taylor, and slapped it on a PDF. Too bad the decorator required digital fingerprinting basic metadata, and the signature timestamp didn't match any of my devices. Third move, the family. I didn't text anyone. I didn't post. I just updated a Dropbox folder called For Those Who Asked. Inside, all 34 fraudulent transactions. Screenshots of the group chat where I was mocked. The audio recordings. The photos of my crossed out name. The vendor replies, a letter from the bank confirming the chargebacks. I sent the link privately to 5 people: Aunt Melissa, my godmother in Ohio, 2 cousins who had daughters, and my grandfather, the only person in the family who ever asked how I was without needing money. It spread within hours. I started getting DMs from second cousins I hadn't seen since I was 12. I didn't know it was that bad. Your sister told us you canceled your own shower. She said you were jealous of her attention. I said nothing. Silence became my revenge. On the 4th day, Emily's Instagram went dark. Gone were the gold balloons. Gone were the party pics. Gone was the Queen Emily branding she had tried to monetize into a lifestyle blog. I didn't even know she was planning to launch something called 30 and Thriving. Not until her ex-boyfriend, the one she tried to soft launch during my fake shower, damned me. Hey, so I saw the folder. She told me you approved the party, that it was a gift. I sent back one word. Enjoy the screenshots. 5 minutes later, he blocked her and reposted my audio with the caption. Turns out the only queen here was fraudulently crowned. Then it got better. My father's credit card was declined at Lowe's. He called me from a new number and left a voicemail. I don't know what you think you're doing, but you've poisoned this family and you'll regret it. Then he added, we were going to reimburse you. I played it 3 times. Then I forwarded it to the fraud department investigating my case. By the end of the week, the final blow landed. Emily received a certified letter from the event planner threatening civil litigation for impersonation, contract violation, and reputational damages. I didn't even know they could do that. Turns out, they can. And they did. Her response? A long Instagram story rant on a backup account. Some people can't handle shared attention. Pregnancy isn't a personality trait. I screenshotted it, added it to the folder, sent it directly to our hometown mom group. Within 24 hours, she was removed from every local group chat, every community page, even a prenatal yoga collective. She hadn't joined yet. They wanted nothing to do with her. Then came the text I was waiting for from Mom. I'm not choosing sides, but this is getting out of hand. Can we talk? Just you and me. No apology. No ownership. Just that fake neutrality. She wears like perfume. Thick, cheap, and meant to cover rot. I replied, there are no sides when you were never on mine. Blocked. The money was returned by Friday, $8,326.91. Every cent. Plus an additional $75 credit from the bank for inconvenience. I used it to buy myself something I'd wanted for months. A custom bassinet, walnut wood, engraved on the side in tiny gold lettering, safe, wanted, protected. Because this child, my child, will never grow up wondering if she's a prop in someone else's performance. I didn't tell anyone when she was born. No posts. No names. No photos. Just one announcement. I gave birth to peace. 7 pounds. 6 ounces. No drama. No parasites. 12,000 shares. Hundreds of comments. This is why we don't go home. Protect your energy, even from your mother. That day, the girl who once begged for crumbs died, and I didn't mourn her. The first card came a week later. Pink, glittery. No name. One day, she'll ask where we were. I burned it in silence. Real closure? It wasn't an apology. It was control. New name on every form. New number. New voicemail. If you're calling for forgiveness, you've missed your window. If you're calling for money, use the number you used to book my shower. Lawyer confirmed. Case closed. Identity secured. No further risk. Then came the drive-by. Same venue. Same railing. Old balloon scraps caught in the grass. I parked. Left a framed photo in the mailbox. My daughter. Fists raised. Caption. She'll never call you queen. They say family is forever. But forever ends when silence feels safer than dinner. I'm not the bank. Not the backup. Not the body they used to host their spotlight. I'm the author now, and they've been edited out. Final move? I mailed back the infamous onesie, world's most dramatic baby. But this time with a patch stitched across the front. Not your storyline. Not your child. Not your access. Blocked again. Then I slept. For the first time in years, I slept like someone who finally ended the show and walked off stage with her name intact. Done. New number. New life. No crowns. Just peace.